This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's. Now.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our NFL on NBC studios. Dan Hicks along with Chris Collinsworth and Mike Ditka. Let's get you updated on some of the scores around the NFL. The Indianapolis Colts and the Buffalo Bills. This is a key AFC East battle, and the Bills out in front 7-0. The Indianapolis Colts, the only unbeaten team in the NFL, trying to stay that way. Tough game on the road in Orchard Park, and the Colts getting stung by Todd Collins early, starting for the injured Jim Kelly, finding Andre Reed 30 yards for the touchdown. Collins' first touchdown pass of the season as Buffalo has the lead in the second quarter, 7-0. Todd Collins, pretty good numbers so far. A touchdown pass, 114 yards.
And he did his job. What he had to do more than anything else was prove that he could throw the football. A little like Mike Tomczak with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Early in the game, you have to come out, establish that passing game, then Thurman Thomas able to run the football a little bit as the first half went on.
Now in the game you're watching, that a key AFC East battle, this a key AFC West battle. The San Diego Chargers on top of the Denver Broncos, 17-7. And Mike, this is impressive on the road for the Chargers, even though Elway got the late touchdown pass in the first
I think
half.
everybody understood, after their victory last week against the Chiefs, this is a good football team. But they go into Denver, they jump up 17-0. It's 17-7 now. Stan Humphries has done a great job. He doesn't have that great a running game. Tony Martin's a great receiver. I mean, he's moving the ball around to different receivers, and they're doing a great job of defense. They're putting a lot of pressure on Elway. And that's one thing that this year the Broncos have given up a lot of sacks, and they continue to do that today, too.
In the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers having an easy time of it with the St. Louis Rams, 21-0. Elvis Grbac has a couple of touchdown passes in that game. The Jaguars visiting the winless Saints, but it is New Orleans on top, 10-7 over Jacksonville. And the Seattle Seahawks with the upset so far of the day, 22-15 over the Miami Dolphins in the rain. Rick Meyer on the bench, reportedly on the trading block as well. So John Freese gets the start, had a good first half. Hooked up with Joey Galloway for a couple of long touchdown passes. This one for 51 yards, and Seattle had the 14-3 lead. Craig Erickson, starting for the injured Dan Marino, hits Randall Hill on a 33-yard touchdown pass. Seattle lead was cut to 14-9. Then here's the big play. 2 minutes left. Miami took a 15-14 lead on an Irving Spikes 2-yard run. Then Freese drills one to Brian Blades, who gets loose, and he goes 80 yards for the touchdown. Freese's third touchdown pass of the day. The two-point conversion made it 22-15, and all of a sudden the Miami Dolphins are 3-2 as they lose to the Seattle Seahawks, who get just their second victory of the season. In the NFC, it was Carolina visiting the Vikings. This was a game of turnovers as the Vikings defense forced 6 turnovers. Carolina quarterback Kerry Collins threw 4 interceptions. The Vikings are 5-1. Green Bay all over the Chicago Bears, 37-6. Huge day for Brett Favre. 4 more touchdown passes. The Bears defense did not have an answer for him. He's on a record-breaking touchdown pace. Time running out in the first half. He throws off balance to Antonio Freeman, who outleaps everybody. 50 yards for the score. Freeman finished with a career-high 146 yards receiving. Packers in a rout, 20-3 at halftime, and then the Favre-Freeman connection again. Over the back of Kevin Minifield, 35 yards on the score. Favre with 4 touchdown passes as the Packers blow out the Bears, beat Chicago for the 5th straight time. Elsewhere, Baltimore in a high-scoring affair, losing to New England. Final score was 46-38, 4 touchdown passes for Drew Bledsoe. The problems continue for the woeful New York Jets. Not only did they lose for the 6th straight time to start the season, but Neil O'Donnell out 4 to 6 weeks with a separated right shoulder as the Raiders get just their second win of the season. And the Atlanta Falcons visiting Detroit. The Lions nearly blew a 28-0 lead, but hang on to go 4-2 and win it over the Falcons, who are still winless at 0-5. Well, we'll send you back to Buffalo for the second half right after these messages from your local station.
Only babies get what they want all the time.
Leave a little bit of yourself on that field.
Men gotta do it the hard way.
Focus. Finish. Let's go. Let's go. Now wear them down. Watch the blue line.
All right, let's go regular.
He's out of the ball game.
Regular, 51, bingo pick.
So you got your earring in?
No more rocket balls, please. Fumble, fumble, fumble. You can't control it, just took place.
Come on, come on, come on.
NBC NBC Monday. It's a wild new Foxworthy.
Men are genetically programmed to hunt.
You aren't hunters. You're Nancy boys.
One thing we're hunting for is a little peace and quiet, a few laughs, and a chance to wear these cool-looking clothes.
But the buck stops here.
Does he look normal to you?
And Mr. Rhodes is the roomie who makes all the rules.
No swearing, no smoking, no drinking, and no girls in your room.
Damn, does anybody know how to get that thing off?
Foxworthy and Mr. Rhodes, NBC Monday.
She said she'd go to Washington to cut taxes and wasteful spending.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's. Now,
Dan Hicks sitting in for Greg Gumbel, joined by Chris Collinsworth and Mike Ditka. Let's talk about some of the early games in depth, starting with the surprising result today in rainy Miami. The Seahawks upsetting the Dolphins 22-15. Seattle getting 3 touchdown passes from John Freeze in for Rick Meyer, including an 80-yarder to Brian Blades with just over 2 minutes remaining. Jimmy Johnson cannot be very happy right now, especially when you look at the upcoming schedule without Dan Marino.
And I thought the problems in the secondary really showed themselves for the Miami Dolphins today. Really, the entire Seattle Seahawks offense came on big plays off the passing game. It seemed almost every time that Miami went into some kind of a man-to-man coverage, they were burned back there in the secondary. Remember, Troy Vincent no longer there, signed with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think his absence really showed today.
No question about it, Dan. Execution of the defense and then poor tackling. I mean, that's really what upset him today, and I'm sure that's what Jimmy's going to think about all week, and that's what they got to correct. But they got a problem now. They go into Buffalo next week, then they go into Philadelphia, then they got Dallas at home. This could be a rough 3 weeks for these guys.
All right, there was no upset in Chicago. The Packers all over the Bears, 37-6 the final there. 4 more touchdown passes for Brett Favre to push his league-leading NFL total to 20. He is on a record pace, and it is shaping up into a very special season for not only the Packers, who are 5-1, but Mr. Favre.
You know, it's interesting. On the pregame show today, we heard Brian Cox say that, well, we were not really convinced that Green Bay can move the ball up and down the field. I mean, they've been getting turnovers. They've been getting all the break. Yeah, track meet going up and down today.
Well, you're right about turnovers. They're plus 15, and that's kind of an incredible number after 6 games. Plus 15 in turnover ratio. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Talk about a track meet. The New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens. New England beating Baltimore 46-38, the highest scoring game in the NFL this season. 4 touchdown passes for Drew Bledsoe. The Patriots have won 3 in a row, and Drew Bledsoe and the Patriot offense seems to have found itself again.
Yeah, this is a little reminiscent of the team that Bill Parcells had a couple of years ago when it was always high scoring, the defense giving up a lot of points. I don't think that Bill is very comfortable with this style of play, but when you've got a weapon like Drew Bledsoe, Mike, I think you've got to use it.
Well, you're going to get shootouts sometimes. Bill got to understand that. You got to take advantage of what you have going for you best at that time. It wasn't the running game today. They had to get a lead because as it was, Baltimore came back and almost caught up with them at the end of the game. He probably doesn't like it this way, but he'll take it.
Well, the Oakland Raiders found a cure for their ills today. They beat the woeful New York Jets, the final 34-13 in the Meadowlands. The bad news, if it can get any worse for the Jets, Neil O'Donnell with a partially separated shoulder that will keep him out 4 to 6 weeks. The Jets fall to 0-6.
Yeah, big blow losing Neil O'Donnell, Keyshawn Johnson, Marvin Jones, Hugh Douglas. The list goes on and on for the Jets. They just have too many things to overcome.
I tell you what, it is bad. It doesn't look like there's too much light at the end of the tunnel. This is a game today I thought they could win. I really thought they could beat Oakland, and it didn't happen. I don't know who they're going to beat now.
All right, Frank Reich, the backup to Neil O'Donnell in New York. Our NFL on NBC halftime activities continue.